All right, we are moving along in chapter 2 in the second section now. And today we're talking about complementary and supplementary angles. Now, complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90. And so sometimes these angles can be represented like this. Sometimes they can be drawn inside a right angle. So we see we have a right angle and these two angles together equal 90 degrees. Or sometimes they're separate, like here, right? We can see 40 plus 50 equals 90. Or here, these two angles inside the triangle are complementary. And so anytime the sum of two angles equals 90 degrees, they are complementary. Similarly, we have supplementary angles. So if we have two angles whose sum is 180, then they are supplements of one another. So just like I said earlier with the 90 degrees, sometimes these supplementary angles can be drawn like this. So you can see that they make 180 together. They're the linear pair. But yeah, these are supplementary, these are supplementary, and so forth. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So if two adjacent angles form a right angle, they're called a right angle pair. The theorem is if two angles are a right angle pair, then they are complementary. So on here, this is where we need this picture. So these are two adjacent angles that form a right angle. So you do need to say they, form a right angle. Similarly, this was the other picture I drew earlier. If two adjacent angles form a straight angle, then they're called a linear pair and they're supplementary. And so we do need to say they form a straight angle. So let's do some problems. It says one of two supplementary angles is 3 less than twice the measure of the other. Find each angle. So we start with a picture. So we have two supplementary angles. So I'm going to draw them like a linear pair. Most of the time, that's how I draw my supplementary angles because I can see it, right? I can see that they're going to add to 180. So one of the angles is 3 less than twice the measure of the other. So I'm going to call one angle X, and this one is going to be 3 less than twice the measure of the other. Highly suggest you draw the picture just like I am, because then you write in those descriptions and we can see what we need to do. That is, the sum of these two angles now equals 180. And we get 3x minus 3 equals 180. Adding 3 to both sides, we get 3x equals 183. And dividing both sides by 3, we get x equals 61. So the measurements of these two angles, this one's 61 degrees. And the other one will be 2 times 61 minus 3, which should give you 119 degrees. This section gets tricky when we have to distinguish between like how do we solve this problem. So this one has two supplementary angles and we drew it accordingly. This problem is a little bit different. It says the measure of the supplement of an angle is 60 less than 3 times the measure of the complement of the angle. So when they talk about the supplement of an angle or the complement of an angle, we are going to let x equal the angle. And so the supplement of the angle will be 180 minus x. When you think about it, if you need to draw a picture, if that's x, then the other angle, the way we would find it would be we would end up subtracting it from 180. Similarly, the complement of this angle will be 90 minus x. Same idea. If we had this and this was x, the way we would find the other angle would be to subtract from 90. So now that we've defined the supplement of an angle and a complement of an angle, we are going to write our equation. So this is going to look like, all right, so the measure of the supplement of an angle. So this is another good way to do it. So the measure of the supplement of an angle is 60 less than 3 times the measure of the complement. So a lot of times it's nice to put it in terms of S and C first, and then we're going to substitute in. So instead of S, we have 180 minus X. And then now instead of C, we have 90 minus X. And simplifying, we're going to get 180 minus X equals 270 minus 3X minus 60. Simplifying, 180 minus X equals 210 minus 3X. Let's see, adding 3X to both sides, we get 180 plus 2X equals 210. Subtracting 180. 2x equals 30, and x equals 15. So we get x equals 15. It says find the measure of the complement. So it wants to know this. So 90 minus 15 is 75 degrees. So again, to distinguish, the first one says we have 2 supplementary angles. If we had 2 complementary angles, we would draw the right angle with the 2 angles, something like this. But this is the measure of the supplement of an angle and the complement of the angle. So that's when we do this method. Okay, so this is homework problem number 7, which you're not assigned, but it is from the book. Number 7 from the book. So this says we are given CD is perpendicular to DE. Let me start making my chart here. Come on. There we go. Statements and reasons. Number 1, CD perpendicular to DE. And that is given. Now, we want to prove that CDF is complementary to FDE. So remember we learned yesterday that if we have perpendicular, then we know we have a right angle. So we could say angle CDE is a right angle. And perpendicular makes right angles. And so we can just go right to 3 now, and we can say, you know, based on the image there, we would say that angle CDF is complementary to angle FDE because if the sum of 2 angles is a right angle, then they are complementary. And done.